So let's talk about reduce operation on arrays. The reduce function on array just allows you to combine all the elements in an array and return an object of any type. So that's a bit of a mouthful. Let's understand that with an example. With an example, let's say you have an integer array which looks like this, and it has elements like 10, 50, 70, 80, 100 and 20, and all you want to return is just sum of all the elements in the array, right? So to do that, you can use a reduce function which looks like this. Reduce, it takes two parameters, an initial value x, and it returns y. So the way it works is, it starts at initial, let's say you incorporated initial value as 0 in this particular case, and when you call this function on, let's say, array.reduce, what happens is it starts at 0 first in the first iteration, right? In the next iteration, it takes 0 plus 50, and you can write that code in your reduce function, right? Let's say you are doing sum. It is basically aggregating all the elements in the array and producing a one result. 0 plus 50, it will produce 50. Then in the next iteration, it's going to take this sum 50 plus take the next element in the array, which is 70, produce the sum 120. In the next operation, it's going to take 120 plus 80. It's going to produce the sum of 200, and so on and so forth, until it produces the final sum, which is 320, and that's going to be the return value. Okay, so similar to this. So let's take an example. So let's define an array of integer. Let's have a few numbers in it. 10, 5, 6, 8, 9. Okay, now let's say if you want to sum all the elements in the array, so that means basically you want to perform a function called 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, and you want to get their sum. So $45. That's what you want output, right? So the way you can do that is you can say sum, then you can call reduce function on this array, ARR mistake. Okay, so you can say ARR dot reduce. So this is the delegate that you want to return. Okay. So here you pass the initial result, let's say 0, right? And the code, basically what you should say is return result. You can call this as anything like result num. You can say return result plus num. Teacher in this particular case, right? So basically what you have done is you are passing this initial value of 0, and then you are summing each element in the array and just returning as a sum. Let's run this and see what happens. Okay, let's print sum. You got 45, right? Now let's say instead of sum, you just want to concatenate the elements. Basically what you want to do is you want to concatenate as a string and return it like this, right? You can do that exactly using a similar function. So what we're going to do is, so let's say instead of sum we will say string concat result, and we will say initial value is an empty string and the result in this particular will be string, right? And here you have to typecast this as string, right? So in this particular case it's going to do string concatenation because the input result is a string, and num also we are casting it as a string and then adding it. Here the plus operator operates on both the string operators, and that's why it will do concatenation instead of actual sum. So let's try to print what happens with this output. As you can see, the output is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So similarly you can use this this is the closure, right? And we have used the reduce function. So closure and reduce function, they are dramatically useful to reduce the number of lines of code to maybe 1 or 2 lines at the most. Imagine if you have to write a simple for loop for this, it will take time. And imagine if you have to write the number of such functions, the number of lines of code will increase. So you can use this as an example and write your own code to do squares, cube of numbers, and very interesting reduce operations on the array. So reduce operation is nothing but aggregating the numbers in the array. So you can do average, count, sum, then string concatenation, all those operations you can perform on the array.